Welcome to The Explainer. You've probably heard it a million times, right? Data is the new oil, that it's this pure, objective key to the truth. But what if that's not the whole picture? What if the real story of data science is way less about machines and numbers and a whole lot more about human craft, our own perspectives, and even intuition? Well, today, we're going to dig into that story.
I mean, we hear about big data and these super powerful algorithms that are supposed to give us these perfect, crystal clear answers. But you know what gets lost in all that hype? The really fascinating, kind of messy, and totally human story of how we're all just trying to make sense of the world using this new lens of data.
And there's a name for this whole thing: datafication. I mean, just think about it for a second. Your morning run, it's not just a run anymore, is it? It's a string of GPS coordinates and heart rate stats. Your friendships, they get quantified by likes and comments. It's this huge cultural shift, and the big promise is that we can get these incredible new insights by basically turning life itself into something we can analyze.
Okay, so this absolute explosion of data leads us straight into our first big myth. And honestly, it's a really seductive one. This idea that when it comes to data, more is always better.
And the thinking behind it goes something like this, right? If we just have tons of data, if we have all the data, then we basically have complete information. Who needs theories? Who needs models? The data itself will just tell us everything we need to know. The end.
Yeah, there's even a shorthand for this idea in the data world. N equals all. N is just the number of data points, and the idea is that our N represents the entire population. The big assumption is, hey, we've got it all covered. But the reality, we almost never do.
And that's the crucial flaw right there, because it's practically never all. And the data we're missing, it's not just some tiny detail. A lot of the time, it's the most important part of the whole story. If your sample isn't representative, your conclusions aren't just a little bit skewed, they can be completely, even dangerously wrong.
Take this example from Hurricane Sandy. It illustrates the problem perfectly. So imagine you only analyze tweets from that time. You might look at the data and think, maybe the storm wasn't that bad. But who are you missing? You're missing everyone who lost power, everyone who was in a situation way too serious to be on their phone tweeting. See, by assuming N equals all, you don't just miss a few data points. You literally make entire groups of people and everything they're going through completely invisible.
Okay, so if we've established that we can't have all the data, we can at least trust the data we do have to be objective, right? Numbers don't lie. Well, that brings us right to our second big myth. This idea that data is some pure, untouched source of truth.
You hear this phrase all the time: let the data speak for itself. But here's the thing, the little secret: data can't speak. It has no voice. It doesn't just appear out of thin air like rain or gravity.
Every single time data is collected, a person somewhere is making choices. What are we going to measure? How are we going to measure it? What counts? And, just as importantly, what are we going to ignore? These are all totally subjective decisions, and they are packed with assumptions and personal perspectives. So, data isn't a perfect mirror of reality. It's more like a portrait painted by a human hand.
Okay, so if the data itself is shaped by all these human choices, what happens when we feed that subjective data into a super powerful computer? Well, this brings us to our third and maybe the most powerful myth of all: the belief in the magic of the algorithm. You know the image we all have from movies, right? Data science is this mysterious black box. You shovel a mountain of messy data in one side, some genius algorithm does its thing, and poof, the perfect answer pops out the other side. The reality? It's a lot more like building with Legos, and trust me, it's way less glamorous.
The truth is, most of the real work, the hard stuff, happens long before you even touch an algorithm. And there's this famous case study from a data science competition that just illustrates this perfectly. So the challenge was pretty simple: predict which Amazon customers are going to be the big spenders.
So one of the top models found what looked like a golden ticket. It discovered that a single data point, free shipping equals true, was an almost perfect predictor of a big spender. That sounds incredible, right? A genius insight. Except there was a huge problem.
What this model found wasn't an insight. It was a classic and actually really dangerous pitfall in data science called data leakage. And all that means is that your model learns from information during its training that it would never have in the real world when it's actually time to make a prediction.
And you can see exactly why the logic was so flawed here. It was completely circular. I mean, just think about it for a second. When do you get free shipping on Amazon? Usually, it's after you've already spent enough money, say over $50, to qualify. The model wasn't some crystal ball predicting the future, it was just a rearview mirror confirming something that had already happened.
So let's recap. If data science isn't about having all the data, and it's not about finding some pure objective truth, and it's definitely not about magic algorithms, then what is it really about?
The reality is that data science is a craft. It's this incredible blend of technical skills, coding and stats, but mixed with deeply human skills. Things like communication, knowing the subject you're studying inside and out, and even intuition, that little gut feeling that tells you when something just doesn't feel right. It really is as much art as it is science.
At the end of the day, using these algorithms well is a fundamentally human endeavor. It's not algorithmic at all. It requires creativity and reflection and the critical thinking to ask the right questions in the first place, and to know when the data is trying to lead you down the wrong path. And all of this really reframes the entire conversation, doesn't it? It moves us away from thinking of data science as just a technical challenge. It's a deeply human one. It's a reminder that behind every single data set, behind every algorithm, there are human fingerprints all over it. And with that comes a profound responsibility for the stories that we choose to tell.